Startup Weekend is about opening the door, widening your mind, encouraging you to step out of your box, meet people, think a little bit bigger about your life.
Is it such a nice group of people, community?
And you see these people who have never been told that they could run startups. Like, they get to go after the job they really want to do. Love you, Mum.
Love you, Mum.
Celia, you're amazing.
Oh, that might go at the front now. Ooh, let me think. Episode 82 with Samantha Ryan and Max Bessone on turning ideas into action in 54 hours at Startup Weekend. Published 17th July 2018. Talks with innovators, creatives and enterprises, gathers people making positive dents on society and captures and shares some of their stories, learns and journeys to now. I'm your host, David Binstead. Startup culture is becoming deeply ingrained in the mainstream. Startup Weekend has turned into a monster, reaching 135 countries and more than 200,000 entrepreneurs. It returns to Wellington this week, and I'm exploring some of the positive dents that the volunteer organisers are hoping will come from the 54 relentless hours of the event. Our first guest, Samantha Ryan, is a serial volunteer and calculated risk taker, the perfect entrepreneurial mix. When she's not co-organising Startup Weekend Wellington, she's a full-time product manager and marketer, user experience researcher, aspiring writer, artist and poet. She's about to start on a new journey at Choice to Pay, a startup redirecting digital payment commissions to good causes. She's big on books, mindfulness, emotional intelligence and a walking ray of sunshine. Welcome, Samantha.
Thank you, David.
Our second guest, Max Bessone, enjoys long walks, creating new things, fixing broken things, and designing beautiful things. When he's not giving his time to Startup Weekend, he's big on responsible design, which lies at the heart of his work to help and improve people's lives. He's driven trucks for the Italian Army, has played competitive volleyball to Commonwealth Games level, and is currently training for Ironman 2019. Happy to welcome Max to the Podcave.
Hey, Dave.
So, Samantha, what is Startup Weekend?
Startup Weekend is a 54-hour event where you turn up on a Friday evening and you pitch a business idea, you pitch your dream that's been sitting in your head or in your drawer, like Max said, and you get a team together around it and you try and build it in 54 hours. And you're connected with the mentors you need, you're connected with possible investors, you're connected with the people that can make this dream happen. And I think that it's such a valuable asset in the startup community. It's pre-accelerator. Anybody can turn up and you can quickly test whether this thing's got legs. There's not many other opportunities like that.
Sometimes they don't have any legs. They just slide on the floor.
Thank God they find out. A lot of the times they haven't got legs.
This year's Startup Weekend in Wellington, which is this coming weekend, 20th, 21st, 22nd of July, you've kind of made it a little bit more interesting for yourselves because your specific focus is humanitarian aid and disaster relief. So you're asking people to focus their dream idea within that purview. What do you think you're going to get?
I'm excited about the resilience aspect of this theme. If there was an earthquake right now here in Wellington, how would we get in contact with our parents if our phones were down? How would we get across town to pick up our kids if they were in crash? How resilient are we as citizens? I think for most people, we're not. So what can we do and what startups can come out of this that will help us prepare for natural disaster? I think it's an incredible event, and I'm so excited to see what happens.
How many people are you expecting?
About 80, and it'll be about 100 people in the end. Yeah.
It feels like Startup Weekend it delivers a framework, and within it people can get a huge number of learns, and there's high probability that there's going to be some great results as well, but that's not necessarily the absolute focus. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. From my experience, Startup Weekend attracts people from all different ages and backgrounds and demographics, and that's the awesome thing about it. And if you don't come out of a Startup Weekend with a business that's ready to go, you have met people who can help you. And maybe you meet a developer on another team that you want to collaborate with, and suddenly you're opened up to this entire network of people who are like-minded. They want to do more with their lives. They're creative. They want to do more. out of their 9-to-5 day job. And that is super exciting. One of my favourite points in Startup Weekend was in the environmental cohort. Philip Fairlinger turned up with his son Emery, and I just loved that there was a father and son duo in there. I hope that happens again. That was just so cool to see. Someone really engaging with their dad like that. It was really cool.
And then you have, like the previous event, the Pacifica one, which was the most emotional event I have ever seen. I really saw people from a specific community having the opportunity to do something in life, and I never saw crying so much during a Startup Weekend. Normally people laugh, enjoy. That particular event was really full of tears.
That was my favourite event was the Pacifica one. People were so invested and so excited about the opportunity to learn and be connected with mentors, and they went so far out of their way to come to that event. People got off work, and it was just amazing.
So, is there any truth in the dual rumour that it's a cross between a jobs fair and a Tinder date? Is that true?
I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say either.
You stick 100 people in a room for a weekend, you sleep deprive them and you feed them loads of food and you get them all really animated and emotional.
It's more crying. There's a lot of crying.
There is.
With happiness and also with a roller coaster. There's no Tinder involved. It's not
Don't take me too seriously.
It's not startup Tinder.
No, startup Tinder. But could be a good idea.
It's a good vertical. We could consider that.
You're at Sunday nights. People have done the pitches. What does success look like?
Post-its everywhere.
Max?
Yeah, I would say the same. Yeah, posts everywhere. And I think a lot of reliefs as well. People really, on Sunday night, they relieve all the stress, all the pressure they accumulate during the 54 hours. And, you really see people chill down and, enjoy themselves and, having drinks with others. And, yeah.
I always love seeing people exchanging phone numbers. That's success to me, when there's people from different teams collecting and they're like, hey, I'd love to connect with you. Let's work on something. And you can see them exchanging and you know that they're going to keep in contact and you're creating something that goes so far beyond this 54 hours. Those people now know each other and they're going to help each other and they're going to go and collaborate on other projects, and who knows what they're going to make.
And as a mentor, I also saw people take that project from the Startup Weekend and develop the project through the years, and that's another success of a Startup Weekend. It's not just build new friendship or build new business relationship, but is even take something together. I believe so much that something can be some. A really good idea can really help others.
You never know how much impact a Startup Weekend is going to make, and it's always incredible to me to think about it. Like Banker, for example, how many kids' lives have changed. NISA, who are giving refugees working opportunities. Like every single Startup Weekend, you have this on-flow effect and the most amazing impact. It's certainly had the most amazing impact on my life. So it's such a cool thing to think about.
So, one of a few audience questions. Is it true you have to stay awake for all 54 hours?
No, it's not true.
52?
Yeah, I would say 52.
Yeah. Don't expect to be going out to the clubs on a Saturday night.
Totally. And be ready to drink a lot of coffee.
Why do you think Startup Weekend is so important to making it normal that everyone can be an entrepreneur?
If we see how the business world is changing latterly, we will see that we see that most of us soon will be without job, and most of our job will be taken by machines. And to me, it is really important that people understand how to create confidence in themselves and in their ideas, in their creativity. That's it's not really okay. You will be a really successful businessman or businesswoman. To me, it's more like, well, you have an idea, do something with it. Why think at the beginning, just straight away, the idea won't have legs to go anywhere.
So for me, I think anyone can be an entrepreneur, and I think if you've got that spark on you and if you've got that thing itching at you, you should absolutely have the opportunity to go and run and try and build something awesome. It doesn't matter if it's successful or not, but you should have the opportunity to go and create something incredible. And for me, I am so passionate about anybody, no matter what they look like, no matter where they're from, no matter what country they've come from, have the opportunity to do that and to follow their dreams. And so to see last year 2 15-year-old girls stand up at Pacifica and pitch their idea, which was around breaking down class barriers in schools, and they're just bawling their eyes out, and they say they've never actually been told that they could do this. That is so cool, and that's exactly what we're after. We have to be so mindful of diversity in tech, diversity in startups, and encouraging people to go and do that awesome thing they want to do. Has huge impact on people's lives.
Does Startup Weekend in Wellington measure diversity stats?
We're very careful to make sure we get a mixture of people with different experience and backgrounds. So, for example, technical people, designers, people who are industry experts. And we like to keep an eye on gender splits and age and that sort of thing. It's not something that we police. We want to encourage anyone who wants to turn up, they can absolutely turn up.
All right, so Startup Weekend next weekend, 20th, 22nd, 100 people. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be great food. There's going to be tears, probably. Such a concentrated hit of taking the spark of an idea and crushing it through that framework in 54 hours isn't maybe the best way to get great outcomes.
Startup Weekend is about opening the door, widening your mind, encouraging you to step out of your box, meet people, think a little bit bigger about your life. It's not necessarily about creating the best startups in the world. So it's your access way, your gate to startup world and what you could create.
What I really want to know is, how the heck did you get involved with Startup Weekend?
I ended up attending my first Startup Weekend about 3 years ago. I really had no idea what I was in for, and I was participating and ended up being in the winning team, which ended up being Banker, which has gone on to do really awesome stuff. And so with that incredible first experience, I became pretty hooked. And with the help of my mentor at the time, Dave Clearwater, I started organising.
How about you, Max?
Well, I was pretty much just arrived in New Zealand. Probably arrived a year ago, and I tried to find some community to join to. I was looking for people, connections for possible work, and one day I saw this online advertising on Eventbrite and said, Startup Weekend. I read something more and I thought, sounds quite interesting, sounds quite creative. I like the idea of doing 54 hours creative marathon. I'm a designer, so I said, yes, I'm in. So I bought to myself a ticket. And I did my first event as a participant. I really enjoyed it.
There's nothing quite like being at an event, being at a startup weekend, and you see these people who have never been told that they could run startups. They've never been told that was even an option for them, because they don't look like the kind of people that run startups, or they don't act like them, they haven't had the education. And them realising, hey, I've got a great idea, or this is a great team, or I want to do this, and feeling that energy, it's just the most exciting exciting possible thing. It's so cool.
David here. It's half time chatting with Samantha and Max about why Startup Weekend really should feature in your life. It's a truism that ideas are free, and the key point of Startup Weekend is to make those ideas concrete through an accelerated 54-hour process. So, instead of keeping your ideas in the mental back drawer of your mind, why don't you check out this week's or any future Startup Weekend to bring them to life? Social enterprise Nisa Clothing, led by Alicia Watson, began last year at Startup Weekend, just like Banker, Banquer, the fast-growing app to teach school-age New Zealanders about money management. The episode's second half dives into some of their journeys to now, but firstly thanks to Julia at Do Good Jobs for supporting this episode. What if there was a way to search for positive impact New Zealand jobs, internships and roles? Perhaps you're re-evaluating your career and want to dip your toe in some new areas of interest, or you're a student wanting to connect with the social impact movement. Well, you're in luck, as Do Good Jobs is a Kiwi jobs board connecting great people to do good. They bring together passionate, talented people, aka do-gooders, with roles that aim to create social and environmental change. Listings are from impact-focused organisations and social enterprises here in New Zealand and include paid and voluntary roles and internships. You can check their site and regular blog, which is listed in the show notes, to access great resources and profiles of do-gooders supporting others to do good. Their founder, Julia, is publishing a series of eco-geek Instagram posts to show how she's walking the impact walk. Check the show notes for links to all those places. My thanks to Julia and Do Good Jobs for the support of this episode. Back to my chat with Samantha and Max and some of their stories to now. Just want to ask you both a little bit about your journeys to now. And we do it in quite a sneaky way by asking you about your first job. Samantha, what was your first either paid job or first what you felt like was your first role?
I was a very naughty paper run girl. And what that meant...
I can tell for some reason. I don't know really why, but I can tell.
I have absolutely loved working from the very first minute. I would go and volunteer when I was really younger to work. I loved working. And as soon as I could, I got a paper run. And I soon got sick of that, but I quickly realised that the paper run people had no idea about what I was actually up to. And so I would roll around Auckland with my paper run bag, and I would find rubbish bins to tip my papers into.
What kind of paper are we talking about? Toilet paper? Because you say paper. What is it?
My little newspaper, my little local newspaper.
I almost feel like I need to give a qualifier and go, hey, you kids out there, what she means is a thing that old people read still, but nobody else does.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dominion Post. How about you, Max? What was your first job? What was your first ever job?
I was a graffiti artist, and one of the first things in Italy, we have a shop. They have all the metal doors they pull down in the night. So I was going shop by shop, just asking, "Hey, can I paint your metal door? Because it's ugly, it's grey, it's not nice. So what about we can make nice, graffiti on it?" And some of them, they
You were Wellington's Banksy. I knew it. I absolutely knew it.
That is the coolest first job I've ever heard of.
Yeah, but it wasn't a real job. I was just, please, can I do almost for free? You just paint the painting.
It's even
what about
better. I think that's so awesome.
Yeah, but it was cool. I was 14, 15.
Transforming cities.
Yeah. Trains as well, or just doors?
No, I actually stopped my...
Inside public bathrooms, or...?
I actually stopped my graffiti experience when I've been caught by police.
Ah, you bad boy.
Yeah.
Bad boy. All right, this is always the fun one. What's been your worst job, Samantha?
My worst jobs have always been when there's been a really bad manager. And so I had a few bad managers when I was a teenager, and that was a real gift, because a bad job teaches you everything about where you never want to be anymore. And that is the single thing that has pushed me into the most incredible jobs, and it's because I will not stand for anything less. I will not stand to be treated like that. So I go and I find something incredible, and I've been really lucky to do so.
How about you, Max? What's been your worst ever job?
For a summer after school, I was working in a factory making concrete blocks. You know those concrete blocks you find in the middle of the motorway, those big ones? They all pre-made in factory, right? So I was one of the workers. It was such a horrible job.
What has been your best ever job, Samantha?
I've been incredibly lucky to work for Optimal Workshop for the last 4.5 years, and I'm just about to make my transition to Choice. And while I'm in that transition, I am really reflecting on how grateful I am to have been surrounded by such incredible people who really care about the work they do and have got a growth mindset and have given me so many opportunities and responsibilities. And so that's just been the most incredible gift of my adult life.
Are you going for like a really good leaving present or something?
That's exactly what I'm after.
How about you, Max? What's been your best job?
I do my best job every day. You know,
Hang on a second, it's going to have to be sick somewhere.
Oh, so sweet.
It's not
My
sweet.
heart.
I really believe that, I'm one of the lucky ones that my job is not a job, is a passion. Sometimes I spend my weekend working and people, sucks, you work. No, I had a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. I want it, so I feel that my job is my love. I really like it. I can.
And that's exactly why we do Startup Weekends, so that more people get to have that, right? Like they get to go after the job they really want to do and love what they do and come in on the weekends.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Do more what you like to do.
Samantha, unless you'd like me to start with Max, it can't be digital. Sometimes we've accepted mechanical, but it has to really be analogue. What analogue object or item can't you live without?
I will say my pencil, my pen. I need to sketch stuff every time. I have thoughts and ideas, so I always look for pencil and paper. That's what I need.
Easy. Any particular brand or sort of weight or?
Normally the German ones, they're Stanley.
Samantha, you've had a couple of minutes. If there's an analogue object or item that you can't live without, what would it be?
It's the little stack of books beside my bed. I've got an incredible book collection. Shout out to RDBs. I've been there twice this week. But I absolutely love my reading. At the moment, I'm reading The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, which sort of teaches you about practicing creativity every day. And I'm also reading The Way of the Peaceful Warrior, which is an incredible book, and I can't recommend higher, as well as The Buddha Who Walked Into the Bar, or A Buddha Walks Into a Bar, which is about incorporating Buddhism into your everyday, which I'm absolutely loving.
If there's one person that comes to mind who has really helped you, either in life or your professional life, or a bit of both, that you just want to say thank you to, Samantha, who would you say?
The first is Andrew Mayfield, who's the CEO of Optimal Workshop. He's been an incredible influence in my life and has given me so many responsibilities and opportunities and saw something in me way before I did. So I'm incredibly grateful to him. And also one of the co-founders of Choice, Fraser McConnell, who is a really good friend of mine and has been such a huge influence. He believes so much in the good in people and has got incredible vision for New Zealand and social enterprise, and I'm so excited to be a part of his vision.
Max, somebody who's been good for your life, who's been a real inspiration or has been really helpful to you?
I think I will always be thank you to my parents. So, I'm coming from a working class. We never had big money, so everything they did everything, to help both of us, my brother and myself, to achieve something in life, studying, get a job that you love, and support us when things were not right. So I think they are my perfect one.
Oh God! Now I have to say that too. My mum's going to listen to this.
Oh.
And you, mum, and you, dad, and you, sister, and you, grandma, and grandma's dog.
Hey, so Max, where, if listeners want to reach out to you online, where can people find you on the socials?
Probably the best way will be my website, maxbessone.com.
Samantha, how about yourself, professionally and or personally, as you prefer?
You can find me wandering around Wellington with my headphones on, usually at Creative HQ. And then online, you can find me on Twitter. It's Samantha Rye NZ, I think it is. Or send me a message on LinkedIn.
Beautiful. You can find Twice Podcast on Twitter and Instagram at, funnily enough, Twice Podcast. And you can find me, David Binstead, on Twitter at David_Binstead. It just leaves me to thank, most gratefully, Samantha Ryan and Max Bessone.
It was so lovely. Thank you for having us. Such a pleasure.
Yeah, that was a really good experience.
Kia ora. It's David, rounding out my chat with Samantha and Max, recorded here in the pod cave at Biz Dojo Co-work Wellington. The conversation continues after this short outro with sidebars that didn't fit into the main episode. I've just applied for a bursary to attend the 10th Social Enterprise World Forum this September, and I'm planning to be producing daily shows supporting the event in Edinburgh. Only time will tell if I'm selected to receive financial support to get there, and I'll keep you updated with the bursary and my progress to be supporting social enterprise on the global stage. Keep up with that progress and other happenings at Twice Podcast via Twitter, Instagram, and even Facebook. And you can also contact the show via twicepodcast.com/contact. Find out more about Samantha and Max's work and that of others mentioned via comprehensive links and show notes via your podcast app of choice and via twicepodcast.com. Imagine if you could fast forward and rewind the episode conversation to specific talking points. Well, you can via chapter markers, which sometimes include dynamically changing images if you're listening on a podcast app like Overcast or Pocket Casts. Huge thanks to Marco Arment for making that magic available to podcast producers free of charge. Additional to episode sponsor Do Good Jobs, I'm grateful to the following organisations and companies for their support. Plankton Agency for the new show logo, Biz Dojo for co-work countrywide, and the Collider Wellington programme of monthly events. I'm really grateful to both organisations for continuing to support the show getting into your ears. Thanks again to episode 82 guests, Samantha and Max, sponsor Do Good Jobs, and most importantly, a big thank you to you for giving us time in your ears. It means a lot. Cheers. Hey listeners, welcome to the post-show, containing bits and pieces from the conversation that may be off-brand and didn't make prime time. Enjoy. What I really want to ask you about in Now We're Playing post-show, optimist, pessimist.
Are you an optimist?
Huge optimist.
I'm a huge pessimist. Huge.
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm huge.
Yeah, right. Well, we're like Neapolitan ice cream. You know, you've got the chocolate and all the strawberry. It's just beautiful together.
Right. So who is the chocolate?
You are the chocolate.
Why is that?
I'm the strawberry.
Oh, okay. I leave you the strawberry then. No, I feel still pessimistic.
And Max, would you call Samantha an optimist?
Totally. She every time she come in the room, in the meeting room, she bring the sun in, it's like a big smile, a lot of positivity, a lot of energy. I love it.
I really don't get sick of people saying that. I think that is the sweetest compliment.
Quick chat about social enterprise. Is it the future of business?
Sustainable and ethical business is the future of business. Absolutely. And certainly the future for New Zealand. My vision for New Zealand is that it becomes a hub for social enterprise, and we need to lead the way. And I'm so excited about building that and creating that here with people like you.
I just talk about it. The problem with hanging out with like people like yourselves, it just makes me want to go off and do it. But
You should come to a startup weekend.
Yeah,
You should.
Yeah, tempting. What are you going to be doing in 10 years?
I think creativity will be one of the keys. People will find time to use creativity to build new things and help humans. I feel that at some point in life soon will be a kind of battle between humans and machines. In the business world. So totally, I feel that creativity will be something that will distinguish us from be a machine. We can't be perfect as machine, right? But we can beat them with creativity.
Which leads me on to my last and final post-show question. What do you think of co-work?
Co-anything is really interesting and awesome to me. I love the space that we're moving into when we're talking about co-living, and we're talking about what's really a community. And there's co-working spaces where you're able to collaborate with people who are like-minded. So it's a hugely positive step forward to me, and I can't wait to see how that develops.
To be honest, since we decided to live in a society, we build communities in the world. We call living. Just we didn't consider before what co-living is, and now we are talking about co-living. But we do the science. We start to live together as a group of different individuals. And I remember you trying to read some pages of your book, but you probably read one line, and then the book was on your face.
That's right, I was dribbling. You guys caught me dribbling.
Dribbling, yes.
Yeah, I dribble when I sleep, and it was just dribbling all over the place. It was.
You are like a snail leaving the
Startup Weekend Wellington. Watch it dribble. Both of you, it's been such fun chatting.
It was so lovely. Thank you for having us. Such a pleasure.
Yeah, that was a really good experience.
We'd love to see you at Startup Weekend this weekend.
Yeah, well, I try to put something there that will be a shit anyway, so you can do the good answer, I do the other ones.
I love this double team.